It's not about just you going and learning or consuming information. It's all about step by step, precise, systematic learning. If you could get that through in a very macro based content level, I think then the attention span is gonna be better. The person who is gonna learn from you is gonna grow higher in his or her life, and the journey becomes much smoother. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome back once again to this episode of hashtag Learn with Nick. I hope you guys are doing fantastic and everybody is in the pink of your health in your family as well as in your friends group. So, most of the people have been asking me this one question about what is the future of weddings and how is tech disrupting weddings. These were the two major questions that I have been listening out from a long period of time once the COVID hit our business model. So, in today's video, I've got a special guest coming up with me, and I want to give you guys a small introduction about her before we get her on board and then hear from the main person itself. Right. So, if you guys are excited, I want you guys to hold your seats tight, make sure that you have a pen and a paper and a notebook ready so that you guys can take huge amount of notes from today's session, right? So she is an industry influencer. She is also a former Miss India finalist, MC, and a creative conceptualizer. She is ace in wedding planning business. She is the co-founder and the director of the wedding school, as well as she is the director of Swaha Wedding and Experiences. So with this, and I want to welcome Meksha Parekh on board with us. Meksha, welcome to this particular live. I would like you to start your video and come back and address to my audience out here. Over to you, Meksha.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, Nick. Thank you so much, Nick, for having me over. And to begin with, I love your settings.
Thank you so much.
Nice and quirky. And a big hello to everyone who's watching Nick and me right now. And I'm really excited to be here today, specifically because as an entrepreneur, as somebody who's been a part of the events and entertainment space now for 20 years, I have always wanted to, and I've always looked forward to being able to guide, motivate the next gen, because I always believe that for any industry to grow in the right sense, it's really important that the next gen has a sense of direction so that the industry sees an upward growth and we don't become stagnant in what we're doing. Especially because we are in a space that demands that we are absolutely updated as far as technology is concerned, and also we are absolutely bang on as far as creativity is concerned. And if we want all of this to work right for us as an industry, I think it's important that the ones young in their biodata and young at heart are doing it right. So absolutely a pleasure, Nick, to be here with you.
Superpower to you, Meksha. And I'm looking forward to today's interview to dive in deep and decode down what mindset do you have when you started your wedding management career or when you started into the entire industry of becoming a wedding expert in today's age. So my first question that I had put down for you, it is all about the future of wedding post COVID. So now before COVID, we know that we used to go we used to pitch the client, we used to go show the meetings, and we used to do a couple of meetings. We used to plan there right from entry, exit, the welcoming part, the entertainment. We used to do a lot of stuff in the weddings domain. So I want to understand that post COVID, what is the situation right now practically in the wedding management industry, and how have you adopted or pivoted your business model to post COVID or post pandemic in today's age?
Right. So, Nick, very frankly, everyone is in a very positive space of mind, but that's a wishful thinking. That's one aspect to all of us as human beings that and especially as Indians, where we have always been trained and molded in a way to always think positive and be positive, etc., etc., etc. However, the ground realities are very different, but surprisingly, they are good, bad, worse, depending on which part of the country you belong to. Um, Again, fortunately or unfortunately, Nick, my observation is that you are not able to typecast this sentiment of clients, of revenues in one specific standard way across India because we are absolutely a huge country. Our dynamics keep changing. And I can tell you to begin with, like say the west of India, specifically Maharashtra as a state. Um, I think as a state, the sentiment is not in favor of any kind of celebrations, any kind of big expenses, versus a state like Gujarat, which again falls in the west of India, but the sentiment is very different.
Right.
There are a lot of factors, Nick, that come into playing for a shift in sentiment between two states in a country like India. The parameters are basically, how closely you're governed and monitored by the government bodies, by state authorities, how critical has the condition been as far as COVID cases are concerned, and how God-fearing we are. And we all know that Mumbai, for example, which is the greatest contributor to anything great that happens in Maharashtra and across India, we are absolutely a disciplined lot. So
Right.
clients also go by rules. Hotels also go by rules. We
Right.
don't have the luxury of farmhouses like you have in Gujarat or Punjab, or even down south in places like Hyderabad and Chennai. And thus, you have your own restrictions and you have
Right.
to go by the rules. When I see my friends in the rest of India, especially up north, and to great extent places like Hyderabad and cities like Chennai, the sentiment is vastly different, simply because of the COVID cases, and also because they are slightly more bold in their decisions. Like
Right.
up north, we all know how clients and how planners also react कि कोई नहीं हो जाएगा कर लेंगे,
Right.
so with that being in their DNA, it's not that difficult, and the sentiment is really upscale and superbly positive. So it's a great mix. And what you experience as freelancers and as young talent, young entrepreneurs, unfortunately, you are subjected to what's the sentiment in your particular city. And that's a huge drawback for at least 50% of our industry, if you ask me today.
Right, right. So what are the suggestions that you got for all of these people whom you are addressing right now? Because they are from different sentiments around the world, as well as they are from the different sentiments around the Indian market as well, based on whichever city or state they are associated with. Now, a person who is a wedding planner in the local markets, say like in Bombay or in Gujarat, or somebody who is in the northeast segment, say like a Guwahati kind of a city, or somebody who is in the north, which is like Gurgaon or Delhi. So, what would you suggest them? How can they start to pivot themselves in today's situation? What are the actionable steps that you got for them, which, if they start to implement, it will enhance their energy towards their business, it will enhance their brand, it will enhance themselves as an educator as well as somebody who can contribute in the wedding management industry or in the entertainment space. So, if you can help us out with some pointers, I think that would work for them.
Sure. So I think right from the start of the unfortunate pandemic, I have not taken a single day off. That's me as a human being.
You
I
deserve
have.
this.
Thank you.
Awesome.
And I can tell you this, that I immediately dived into something that was anyways a concept on paper, which is called Wedded, which
Right.
was education in wedding space, but not education for the youngsters. It was time for the entrepreneurs, successful business runners to also take the time to educate themselves.
Very
Then
true.
I got into my next batch of the wedding school. The point I'm trying to make is that it's very important for us to understand as youngsters that you need to have total control of what's next. Um, I unfortunately have observed that most of the youngsters today are so carried away by what's happening on social media. They're
Right.
always drawing inspiration. So, my first suggestion to you guys would be, don't follow, create a path. Okay. And now, when it comes to creating a path, create a path which is closest to you as a person and personality. For example, with Wedded, nobody had to tell me to do it. I started my first session on Wedded, I think on the 10th day of pandemic. I have not waited for the world to realize that we are going to sit at home. I just felt that if I am at home, why don't I do something for my industry who's not had the time to upgrade themselves? So it's on you. But I did something which I knew I could carry off. I did something which I believed in. So for me, the sense of belief is very, very important for you to be able to create your path. I totally detest people who do things just because somebody else has done it. And that would be my second important suggestion to the youngsters. Get inspired, but do not just ape someone, because it doesn't take you a long way. I choose to believe, Nick, that every young person today in our industry is here because they want to make a mark for themselves. Gone are the days when you could say, oh, I love to travel and I love to make money. That's why I want to do events. It's too passe. And sorry, but we are traveling very limited. Yes. So we're doing virtual events. So it's really important for you to understand this particular situation and thus look at it and not ape what else everyone else is doing. And thus I want to do it. The next thing that I have always promoted, especially since pandemic, is upgrading yourself by self-learning. Learning can come in different forms. I'm not here telling everyone to join the wedding school just because we are running an institute. I am trying to say either you pay or you take the unpaid format of great content and great learnings that's available on YouTube and Google, but spend 60 minutes in a day trying to learn something new, trying to watch something different away from what you are obsessed with. For example, weddings. Every young mind who's obsessed with weddings is continuously watching wedding videos. I don't understand if that's the only way to learn. For me, there are plenty of other ways. So find where you want to learn from, discover a source by experimenting, but spend 60 minutes in a day, whether you're an employee, whether you're a freelancer, whether you're running your own business. For me, that is a very, very critical way in which you can grow. And that is the way I wish that you would want to make your mark in this space. The next thing, and which is very critical, especially for new entrepreneurs, is be patient. I may look younger than what I am, and I may look like an overnight star, but that's not the case. I walked the ramp when I was 16 years old, back in, I don't know, 2016. So from that day one when I earned my first rupee till today, it's a journey. It's never been me chasing fame, never me chasing acceptance. I have chased perfection. So be easy on yourself and don't assume that because 3 girls did thumka on Instagram and they became overnight stars, we're all just trying to do that. No, there's some of us who are just lucky. I feel don't focus on your luck factor. Be very patient and allow yourself to enjoy each day rather than put that pressure on yourself that I want to be number one, I want to do it now. And my last suggestion, whether you are a freelancer or an entrepreneur, help this industry by not undercutting each other so drastically in desperation, which is happening rampantly. And it is worrying me for the sake of the industry. Nick, big organizations such as mine can sit, hold, stay put, let one more season go by, but that's not the luxury that everyone else enjoys. Thus, they're all picking up work. No problem with that. Reduce your price, give the COVID discount that every client is obsessed with or every company is obsessed with. But my point is, the more we undercut each other, we are giving an advantage to a client who can afford to pay a reasonable amount. And for us as an industry to then revive next season, and come back to what we all were quoting in 2019 is going to be almost impossible. So this is a collective conscious decision, Nick. I don't think you and me alone can do anything, but
Right.
at least I would like my two bit to be known to people. So jo samjhe wo samjhe, aur na samjhe wo anari hai.
Superb, superb. So this is a fun thing, and I think I have personally taken down some of the notes from the pointers that you have been talking about so far. And trust me, this is a beautiful way to express in a simple 5 pointer steps that you said just right now. Just to recap for all of our viewers right now, for everybody who's watching, the main thing that what Miksha was trying to point out was that you need to be you first, and you need to enhance your education, and which is what I have been promoting very, very, very rigorously on internet or any other media from where people come and follow my content. I talk about the golden age, that we are trying to move in towards the golden age, which is learning something new every single day, doing it, and then teaching it. So learn, do, and teach is the golden triangle that I believe in, which is what I have learned from one of my mentors called as Blair Singer. And he is who's and who's of the person who is teaching people about how to train people. So when I was in that journey way back, and I invested somewhere around 12 lakh rupees just to learn from him in the entire pandemic. And most of people, they feel that, okay, why will I invest a huge amount of money to learn? But I wanted to learn from the world's best. I did not wanted to invest in some basic coach or a consultant. So I went there, I learned. Though I am a business entrepreneur, though I have my own startups, though I have been doing a lot of stuff. Since then, I thought that my learning should be in every stage of life. I should be a learner who is always learning, not only in my formative years in my school or in my college, but in all stages of my life. That should be your value system that you need to put into yourself and in your mind, because that's going to be your fuel. So whenever you're working on something, you drain down energy. So you got to fuel it up. So how are you going to fuel it up? With your value system. So if you got that value system right, what Miksha rightly said sometime back, don't fall for trends. Become a trend setter, or or look after trends that are high bringing trends, or which is going to be a flourishing trend in the near future. For that, I've created a specialized video for all of those people, which is about the 12 most demanding industries in the world. The video is already out on YouTube. You can go and check that video out for more information. Over to you, Miksha. Now, this is a beautiful conversation that we are having right now. Now, I want to understand what are the top 3 practices that a wedding planner must incorporate in his business model once he is pitching down for any of the upcoming business inquiry that he is generating. Now, the inquiry can be generated on the basis of you and me as an individual person on the network that we have, or on the basis of a referral that comes into picture. And I had somebody who asked me some time back that, Nick, you are a freelancer, you own a company, and you have been doing so much of stuff. Would you be interested in doing collaborations with us? And I was like, okay, what is this collaboration all about? Then the person started to decode himself, and he said that I'm looking forward for a collaboration in sales. That means you get the lead, you get the sales for me, and then we execute it for you. Then I was like, okay, so my question is that if I get the sale, why will I give it to you to execute it? I will execute it myself. So then he started to talk about that a lot of freelancers, they are into sales, they are expert of sales in weddings or in any domain in events. So then you don't have the energy and the power to do the operations, or you don't have the corpus amount of money sitting in your bank to hold it for 30 to 45 days if you're in corporate event management, because that's the payment terms that the corporate companies generally do the payment transactions on. And in weddings, it's all about you get the transactions done faster than a corporate company. You get your payments post the event or on the same day of the event, so that you are secured once you are done, once you have given down your services to them. So what is that 3 top things or 3 best practices that you would suggest, especially for a wedding management company person who is trying to enhance his business and grow in this particular period of time?
Nick, my personal view on collaborations is always been a 50-50, because I have experimented with that, very frankly. And I think no matter how good an intent you may carry, you can't guarantee and assure and assume about what's the intent of the other player. So while it all sounds absolutely amazing, From that one experience, I have learned that either you avoid collaborating because it spoils your personal relation with someone, or go with the flow and don't be so sensitive and picky on things. Then I think you can enjoy that space of collaboration. Um, I will give you 3 points that's going to help your viewers over and above what one would end up doing in a collaboration. For me, I think personally, I am extremely driven by creativity and new ideas. I have managed to, with the help of a great team that I have over the years, always had that as a USP, which was an accidental USP. And eventually we realized that that's our core and that's our calling. And that's why clients call us back. So the referral work comes to you because of what you've done in the past. Now, not everyone has the bandwidth. We are all creative souls, is what I believe. But not everyone is ready to go through that effort to dimag lagao on things. So find your core and create your USP. That's my first suggestion. It could be hospitality, it could be creativity, it could be your people management skills, whatever it is, find that out. And again, see something that's closest to you and yourself as a personality. The second thing for me, Nick, which I feel is highly misunderstood, is the costing that we give our clients. I believe it's high time people start adapting and accepting. We do not have the advantage that our seniors had when they started their company 15, 20 years back. There was no Google, there was no Insta, no artist would respond to a client query. They would wait for an agency to contact them. And that's not the case anymore. An artist will jump to the opportunity with an Insta DM by a bride as well and give a better quote today to the bride than he would give to an agency. So it's very important that you try to maintain as much clarity on that cost sheet of yours. I'm not trying to say or discourage you from what people call as the markup. Every organization should have his or her own discretion to do it. But I'm just saying, make that sheet wisely, because you don't have the upper hand or the luxury that your seniors had. So accept it and don't make a fool of yourselves in front of clients.
True.
And my final 2-bit would be to focus on doing something that is going to be a little bit of a trendsetter for the next project that you get. Keep the audience in mind, and we are all here to service our client. We are equally here to make sure that there is a reason why someone calls us back. And that could be even just one element. It's over and above the USP. It could be any one small gesture that you do, which the rest of the crowd, which is 200, 350, how many ever guests you have, are going to remember. So I think this is my way in which the business model runs really well, which is focus on your work.
So make sure those 3 topics that you have spoken about, one is core, one is make better pricing, and you need to be very much understanding on the costing sheet that you will be preparing for your client or customer. You have to give them discount. You have to make it very wisely. That's what your second point was all about. And the third point was about becoming a trendsetter for the industry. Am I right? These are the 3 topics that we were discussing.
Yes, I'm not at all saying we should be giving a discount to the client, but just be aware that everything is out there open in the market. So don't end up making a fool of yourself because you are assuming client ko kuch samajh mein nahi aata hai. Aisa nahi hai. Client has seen more weddings than any new entrepreneur of the last 3 years. So that is something that one has to keep in mind.
Awesome. So all of you people who have been asking me and DMing me a lot about how we should charge, what are the types, or the way how we should prepare our core, I think Meksha has answered that thing down. And I loved the first suggestion that you had, that work on your core. And this is what I have been also speaking out very vocally on the platforms, and I've been talking the power of one, and the power of micro niching down. So like what I see in the drawback in the current education and employment system, the mission why am I doing all of this stuff is because I see that the education system and the employment system is broken in the world. It's not connected in much efficient way. The education things what we used to learn earlier, that you can only selectively learn these particular subjects, and the upbringing ways were very different. But in today's day and age, I think the market is very much information overloaded with a lot of information. You can go on YouTube, you can type the keyword that you want to learn about, and there are thousands and thousands of videos that are available. But what will you do from all of those information if you can't act on it? And most of the people, they don't act on the information that they consume. So you gotta ready, fire, and aim later. So you gotta be ready, you gotta learn, and then you just fire it and then aim later, because you're gonna be learning things that you're passionate about your core. So wonderful point, Meksha. I really loved the core aspect of your suggestion. Superb. So moving forward, I am now more interested to hear about the vet jobs. I think sometime back you were talking about vet jobs. So I want to understand what is the way, or what are the ways, or what is that one thing that you are trying to solve through vet job initiative?
Sure.
What's your mission behind that?
So Nick, I'll just take you a little back when we started Swaha 10 years back.
Anji.
I remember had taken students. We didn't have that many employees, and we relied very heavily on Event Management Institute kids to join our team. And then my partner Hemant and me would actually do training programs over and above the education that the institute would give them, where we would end up training them for our projects. But obviously learning is learning. You will implement that in every other project you get. And over the years, we developed a great fondness amongst the freelancer community, where they kind of always enjoyed working with us, because we used to actually analyze their performance after the event. And we used to give free guidance to them कि next time तुम ऐसे इसको ऐसे tackle कर सकते हो, तुम ऐसे इस चीज को कर सकते हो.
Beautiful.
Just good faith यार कि किसी का भला हो तो why not?
Why not? Beautiful. Yes.
And then in 2018 is when we realized that it's high time that there is more value attached to our industry. And the first way to attach value to any industry is by getting the better talent to enter our space, or training the average talent to become better before they enter our space.
Right.
So तुम job भी लो, तुम मेरा salary भी लो, और तुम मुझे से सीखो. I had not appreciated that which was going on for a long time, because most kids would come from event management sensibilities, and wedding management, Nick, as you know, is very, very different.
Very true.
So that's when we started the wedding school, where we would only train them for wedding planning, management, decor, anything and everything to do with weddings. Now, in that process, we started getting calls for, requirements from different companies. And obviously, our commitment to our students was very strong. We were very particular that they should take up jobs as TWS students, and not just get into doing 1 to 2 day events. No offense, but I wanted to contribute. And my hashtag for all these years has been creating contributors.
Wow.
So
super.
I wanted to contribute towards more professional players in every agency that I could reach out to. India is too vast, Nick, so I have a long way to go there. And then through this lockdown is when we realized that there are so many youngsters, who lost jobs, those who are freelancing and have no work to get to. And there are so many agencies, planners, decorators, which have opened offices in the last 3 years, especially, nothing to do with pandemic. It's just the way the trend is in smaller cities, 2 tier, 3 tier cities.
Right.
Now, when you have so many companies across a country like India, you are going to have a big vacuum where a good talent does not know how to reach that company, because we used to keep getting resumes on our inbox. We used to get DMs on our Insta handle, but we don't take those that seriously. वो तो आते रहते हैं.
Right.
So how do I find a great talent, and how does a great talent reach the right recruiter? So to fill that particular space, and also realizing, which happened through the wedding school, that I always got requirements from planners, but more importantly from choreographers, catering houses, photographers. If we want somebody in ops, we want somebody in business development, and we realized that this industry is ready for more systems. So
Right.
bring in more systems, better hiring, and helping youngsters directly reach a company's doorstep rather than having to use a friend reference or constantly pinging someone on DM and getting blocked. Um, have a professional platform where somebody can knock my door and I'm ready to open the door because I had given my flat number to that person. So,
Right.
so that's really what it is. In a nutshell, bedjobs.in is literally the naukri.com for the wedding industry,
Weddings industry.
or the Monster or any of these job portals. We had the option, Nick, to take this and make it multi-space. We wanted to focus on events, weddings, concerts, entertainment. But of course, weddings being our core is why we call it Wed Jobs. But we have seen in I think little less than a month, we have so many corporate event companies who also started listing their requirements and posting jobs. So it's not really restricted to weddings, but weddings is the core, and that's like the core, and that's going to remain. But this is largely a job portal for events as an entire industry.
Wow, wow, wow. So make sure, I think you have also somewhat answered the next question that I was supposed to ask you. Is tech disrupting weddings or the event management space? That was my next question, which I had for you. So definitely for all of those people, and I got my answer that yes, tech is definitely going to disrupt the industry if you don't pivot yourself towards the technical aspect of the current industry that you are aligned with.
Technology, I would say,
Yes.
yeah, more than technical, Nick, yeah, technology needs to be embraced. And I'll be honest, I'm not ace at everything that's connected to technology, but I'm not averse to change. I'm
Hmm.
extremely happy to adapt to what is relevant.
Beautiful thing that technology is definitely going to be changing, and most of the people, most of the freelancers also have been pinging me. So if so stop pinging me for a freelancing job. Go and register yourself on Webjobs. I think Meksha has bring down it in a beautiful way, webjobs.in, if I'm not wrong with the portal name. Am I correct, Meksha?
Yes,
So
yes.
you guys can go and register yourself on that particular portal, and she and her team is always there to help you out if you want to learn and enhance your knowledge in the weddings domain. That's the core for Meksha, and that's the reason why she started it with the Wed Job name, so that she can pull out and she can attract more people who are in the wedding domain, who want to get into the freelancing part of weddings, who also want to learn from the best and who's in the industry to become a good wedding planner in the future. And as well as if you want to work in different agencies in wedding domain, then Meksha's agency is one of the agency from where you can start with. So I think, yeah, you guys should definitely follow her and use hashtag Wed Jobs if you're looking for jobs as well.
Yeah.
That's how you'll be able, these people will be able to find you through those hashtags on internet. Superb, superb, superb. So now, is it also possible to use tech from the company's perspective? This technology was from the perspective of bridging the gap to the company, to the client, as well as the agency. So this was bridging the gap of somebody who lost their job and who was looking for a job, or somebody who has already a great amount of experience in the domain and he wants to work with somebody as a freelancer or as a project manager for them. So this is bridging the gap for them. Superb. That's clear for us. So my question to you was, make sure that is it possible for somebody who is an agency owner to automate his operations, his internal training program for his team, as well as by using some systems? Is it also possible to automate the client servicing part or the follow-up part with their clients and customers? Is it possible for a wedding or an event planner to use the power of systems to bring down automation and free up more space so that he can use that amount of energy in creating something more productive and much better for the industry as well as for their clients.
Nick, if you're asking this from the portal aspect, no. And if you're asking from a business running aspect,
business
yes,
running aspect.
Absolutely. But Nick, again, education, we all will need to go back to that. Now, none of us who are sitting at the top have had a formal education as far as management skills is concerned and wedding management is concerned.
Right.
So the big drawback is that it has been a self-learning process for the first gen of wedding planners or decorators or designers. We as the first gen have now set up systems, have opened up schools. Like I run the wedding school. You have another 4 institutes in India today who are teaching wedding management after I have started. And I feel happy with it. I don't take it as competition because इतने लोग हैं इंडिया में, इतना सिखाने को है, that we all need to get and dive into this space.
Right.
Basic systems, Nick, are extremely critical, and that can only be formed by the owner in a company. If the owner is going to rely on his talent and tell them to take the onus, he does not deserve to run his own business. So while I may have great leads or I am a rich shot and thus I've started my wedding planning company, great. I have the first advantage, which is the lead has come to me. But my second and third wedding will only come to me based on how systematic I was when I was servicing my client, even if the client was my best friend, you know. So that first opportunity will come to me as a rich shot, and a lot of rich shots are planning because they love the title wedding planner. I don't know why, but they do. So, you know, it's fine. तुम तुक्के में कर लो, एक शादी, 2 शादी, अच्छी लोकेशन पे इंस्टा स्टोरीज डाल दिया, किसी और ने तुम्हें कांटेक्ट कर लिया, लेकिन वो जो रेफरल है, वो जो टीम का enjoyment and satisfaction है, that I enjoy working with this boss, is only because the boss needs to know more than his subordinates. The boss needs to be a leader and not become complacent just because he's hired 2 people who are working with a leading company, you know. So poaching and thinking ke uske aane se tumhara dhanda better ho jayega is a wrong approach. Set your own systems. How extensive you make your system, that again is on you as a person and your bandwidth. Usually companies in bigger cities, without wanting to put down anyone else, usually we tend to have more system-based working. I know of companies, in fact, even in big cities like Delhi and many others, where the agency is small, so they work on basic papers, not on event flows, not on Excel sheets. I remember I was interacting with a planner from Punjab who laughed and said कि तुम लोग जितना time Excel sheet बनाने में लगाते थे उतना में हम 3 शादी उड़ा देते हैं. So I told him मैं शादी उड़ाने के लिए नहीं लेती हूँ, ठीक है, मैं रिश्ता निभाने के लिए करती हूँ, so मैं Excel sheet पे ही खुश हूँ. So you know, that is now his mindset versus mine. Now I can't change him, but I can only urge कि उसके शहर में जो नए लोग आए वो प्लीज उड़ाने के लिए शादी ना करे, है ना, थोड़ा क्लाइंट सेंसिटिव होके काम करे. So I'm totally pro systems.
Very true. And I think currently the statistics and the analytics of the situation that we are in, if you look at, most of the companies have to adopt system-based approach. It's not about just you going and learning or consuming information. It's all about step-by-step, precise, systematic learning. If you could get that through in a very macro-based content level, I think then the attention span is gonna be better. The person who is gonna learn from you is gonna grow higher in his or her life, and the journey becomes much smoother, because then you can use the power of automation. You can free yourself because now you have a system, and you yourself can lead the company to the next level and then the next level that you always expect to. The most of the CEOs, the CFOs, and the founders, the mistake that I have been observing is they don't have much systems, and they end up being the wedding planner and coordinating with artists and backstage and running consoles by themselves on the day of the event. which I have been observing from a very long period of time, at least in the Pune market, which I could see. So if the owner is on the ground, if the founder is on the ground, who is going to take the company to the next level? Your energy, your cosmetic energy is being utilized on that particular event. But if you use the power of systems, and if you could train and build down a team who can run that show by themselves, I think then the owner has got the liability to enhance their team in much better way and to enhance the company as well as take their brand name to an international standard as well.
Sure, Nick. But I'll also add over here. I have always held entrepreneurs and business runners in high state when I've seen them on floor.
Right.
Technically, I don't find anything wrong in that. But yes, if you are that one person who is doing everything, then there is something wrong in the way you're running your business.
Right.
And that's not going to lead into a great successful business. फिर आप बोलने के लिए अपने आप को entrepreneur बोलो, खुश रहो, but do not move to your next league. But nothing wrong and derogatory in doing it. For example, I love doing show running, and I believe that because of my experience of anchoring shows for companies and traveling to over 50 countries, I have always learned by observing which company does what right when it comes to show running. And the way we do show running in Swaha is something that's spoken about, for which I give credit to the hundreds of companies that I worked with,
Right.
So I still do it because I'm very passionate, and nothing wrong in that. But yeah, doing everything yourself is definitely not the way forward.
Right. So I think if Swaha is conducting say like 5 events in a day, it is not possible for you to be in each wedding and running the show. This is what I meant by building in systems and by building in a stronger team who can run the show by themselves.
Absolutely.
And the founder can focus on the main lead where his presence is very much required.
Absolutely.
So he can have that decision thing in his plate, and he can decide where do I need to be there and where my team can handle.
Yes.
And this is the drawback which I see on at least in the Pune market, that they want to do everything by themselves. Some of the players are there in the market. They say that if you will go and tell them that, would you be interested in promoting yourself through digitalization or using digital marketing strategies to enhance your business and to generate more leads? They're like, no, I don't want to be on digital media. If I post my photos and content, then people will copy me. I'm like, they'll copy just your design, but not the way how you execute it. Right? So I think, and they don't want to be on digital media. They don't want to come on board. They don't want to give any interviews. There were few of the people I have contacted, and they were good in the business that they were doing for so long. But they don't want to share. They don't want to talk. They just are happy in their own cocoon, in their closed group, and then they say that we want to grow internationally. How are you going to grow internationally if you're not building public relation? If you don't have your personal brand, how will you grow? People connect with people. They don't connect with the brand that you represent with. I don't think so. Anybody right now would be contacting you, or any of your client comes to you because of Swaha. They come to you because Meksha is there, because your co-founder is there. So all of you put together as a person, that value is more. People connect with people.
Yeah.
This is what I learned so far. Awesome. Meksha, this conversation is going great. And I think we have covered a lot of pointers that most of the people would have been seeking out from this particular interview. And it does benefit their life as well as their business growth strategy. I have a last question for you, and then we're going to wind this up with your permission. So some of the action steps that you would like to pass on to the people if they want to use digital media to generate leads or revenue. Is it a great platform to be in? Should they use digital medias to enhance their business or not?
My experience as a small entity, you can do that. Small business, which is volume business with lower margins, those kind of conversions are absolutely possible actively by having a significant presence on Instagram. My only suggestion over there will be, do not claim to have done work and showcase work on your page which does not belong to you, or which you were a part of as a freelancer or as a project lead, because clients are way too smart and they do figure it out, and then it's a big effort from the client side or from the fraternity to make sure that they let 10 other people know what you have done. So that's a very word of caution, I would say, Nick.
Unethical way to approach lead.
Yeah, because you can fall in that pit. It's very natural, because everyone's on Pinterest and sabko lagta hai ye ho raha hai, but nahi, there are people who watch and they speak. So that's a very thin line to walk on. For those who want to grow into the bigger market with big ticket weddings, personally, I'll say it does not really help having anything to do with Insta. Not being there is not a great idea, but expecting some big ticket work coming your way, it's a 1 in 1,000 chance. So it does happen, but it's not that frequent. So you must know where to put your energy, and focus more on referral work if you want to go up the ladder. Focus on networking with hotels and great relations with vendors. I think that takes you to that bigger ticket wedding, so to say. And otherwise, having a decent presence, no harm. And yeah, I think that's what it would be.
Superb. So all of you people, I hope you guys have taken a huge amount of notes from what Niksha has said. And the likho, matlab likhoge to hi badhega India. So you got to write, and beautiful pointers, beautiful way how you expressed it. So now you got to understand that wedding has got two aspects. If you could figure that out from Niksha's last suggestions, she was talking about something which is a big fat wedding and something which is a basic normal wedding. So normal weddings, basic budget weddings, you can capture through social media, through digitalization, and being there also helps you to improve your public relation. And on the other side, if you want to grow and if you want to get big fat weddings, that means you need to have some proven results that you have done in your journey so far. On that basis, those big people are ready to invest money, because I think big fat weddings would be in crores. So if somebody is ready to put in crore a rupee for a particular wedding, that means he needs a proven result and a proven company with that mark, who has done a great job in their past history. So they would be more inclined towards looking at the history and the works that you have been doing for so long, and how innovative you are, how conceptually protected you are, how much intact you are, how much of good value systems do you have, and all of that stuff would really matter if you want to get onto high ticketing or big fat wedding clients. So super, Meksha, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to host you. And I think these were the questions that I really wanted to ask you. And anything else that you want to add on before we end the conversation?
I'm glad I've enjoyed this one, and I definitely want to say thank you to Jay for connecting
Yes.
us, and I look forward to any way in which I'm going to be able to help the next gen make their mark. And good luck to you as well, Nick.
Thank you so much, Meksha. Thanks so much. This means a lot to me. And keep following hashtag Learn with Nick. Follow hashtag Creating Contributors. Am I right? And follow hashtag Wed Jobs, and go and check out the Wed Jobs platform. So thank you so much, Meksha, for being a wonderful player in the wedding market, and for giving me the opportunity to host you today. Thank you so much for your valuable time.
Thanks.